Your name, your address, and your phone number are floating around the internet. Easy for strangers, scammers, and companies you've never heard of to find. Data brokers and shady databases collect and sell your private details to anyone willing to pay, putting you at risk of nonstop spam, scams, and fraud. You can't stop them from collecting data, but you can control who gets to keep it. That's why I use Incogni. They remove your private information from more than 420 of these sites automatically. And with their unlimited plan, you get total coverage. If you spot your personal details anywhere else online, just send them the link, and their privacy experts will get it taken down. It's the easiest, most complete way to protect yourself and personal life. Right now, you can lock in 60% off with my exclusive deal at privacykim.com. Go to privacykim.com right now and start protecting your privacy. This is so important. Privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com.
Welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of January 14th, 2023. And let's get started. Here's hour one.
Okay, I always like to start with something interesting. And let me ask you this question. When you look at a product's review over on Amazon, which do you think is better? A bunch of reviews and they're all 5 stars, or a bunch of reviews that when they average, they come out to a 4.7? Well, as it turns out, that product with the 4.7 star review is going to have better sales because, well, people find that more credible. So I just wanted you to keep that in mind if you're selling products online or when you're looking at reviews, that if every review is 5 stars, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life in the universe. It just might be phony. It might be rigged. And this brings up another great point, that we all have these sightings of UFOs. And I can tell you the one reason why the aliens have never, ever visited us. It's because our solar system has received terrible reviews, horrible reviews. We only have 1 star. And on that happy note, welcome to the nation's largest and award-winning show. That's right, about all things digital. It's called the Kim Komando Show because, after all, I'm America's beloved digital goddess here with you once again. And you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing now is a tech thing. And if you're a brand new listener, hey, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. And you can find the Kim Komando Show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And of course, we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando, with a K, of course. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, 24/7 over at our website. That's getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. And if you want to support our programming, make sure that you sign up for a membership over at getkim.com. It's just a few bucks a month. And you can also hear us on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy to come on a big-time show, I get that. You can drop me your question over on the website. It's the old school way. Head to komando.com. And in the top right-hand corner, there's a link that says, email Kim, and I read every single note that you send me. All right, every single day, I go to the newswires. I visit 30 different websites to make sure that you're up to date on all things digital. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about what's happening in the news. And it was about a month ago, maybe more than that, I introduced all of you to ChatGPT. It's the first artificial intelligence powered search site that's free, and it's open to you and to me. And it's really the first challenger to Google, and how Google can really finally be dethroned. Because when you use ChatGPT for an online search, instead of showing you all these different websites and where your answer might be, we're going to call that the Google way, ChatGPT just gives you the answer right there on the page. And it reads like a human is actually talking to you. Well, now here comes mighty Microsoft with $10 billion. That's right. About a third of ChatGPT's value. And they want to team up. They've got the cash, the personnel, the marketing to take on Google. And if you haven't tried this ChatGPT yet, oh my gosh, do it while you're thinking about it. Go to openai.com and prepare to be amazed. Just ask it, like, for example, like, who is Kim Komando? And you'll see that the answer is really on target. All right, number 2 on our list of 5 things that you need to know is number 2, look up in the sky. Where are the planes? What happened? Right now, more than 7,000 aircraft are flying under the FAA's air traffic control system, a system that is using, believe it or not, 40-year-old computers? Yes, and you thought that Windows XP was old. Well, since 2015, the FAA has been working to modernize this whole air traffic control system, and they're calling it ERAM, En route automation modernization. Now, the full implementation is going to take place until 2029, but some of this hardware, as I mentioned, is really, really old. Well, this past week, a tech updated the system software that provides the last-minute critical safety information for all departing flights. A few line of codes. Oh, no, what happened? The manager said, we got to reboot. They reboot. It doesn't come back up for 90 minutes. All departing flights had stopped. They tried to use a backup, and guess what? Some of the files were corrupted. Ruh-roh, that's what happened. Number 3, wake up. Yeah, Seattle's public schools, they've filed a surprising lawsuit against YouTube, TikTok, Meta, claiming that social media has wrecked the mental health of their students. All right, school's right. A lawsuit isn't right. Of course, social media has negatively impacted everyone, kids and adults, many as young as 3. The lawsuit says that the social media algorithms cause anxiety, depression, eating disorders, cyberbullying, making it harder to educate the students. And they use the word purposefully, by the way. Now, keep in mind, social media is a legal product. So it's not really the school system going after social media. It's really like, where are the parents? Okay. You got to watch your kids. You got to see what they're doing on social media. I mean, if you let your kids sit there and gorge on fast food and all of a sudden they get obese, are you going to sue McDonald's or Burger King because you weren't watching your kids? Not so much. Number 4 on our list is more about kids, but what they're using instead of WebMD. What they're using is TikTok. That's right. A paper published this past month says how these Gen Zers are hanging out on TikTok, and the content creators on TikTok are talking about their health. And then these kids are watching the TikTokers talk about their health, and then suddenly the kids think they have autism, ADHD, asthma, blood disorder, depression, personality issues, they're bipolar, the list goes on and on. So speaking of parents and kids, just talk to your kids about how they're feeling, what's going on in their head, and remind them that a doctor went to medical school and these TikTokers probably didn't, and maybe they haven't been really diagnosed with this. Or better yet, use this analogy, especially because they're teenagers. What do pimples, okay, work with me on this. What do pimples and social media influencers have in common? Okay, all right. They both start off small, right? They randomly grow large, they explode, and then they leave a nasty scar until one day we forget that they were even there. And finally, this coming in at number 5, a cruel TikTok scam. As you wondering, what the heck is going on with humanity? Well, a woman in California, her husband died, and she went to an online support group, and then she started watching some TikTok videos, and her name is Joycelyn Cronin. And this is a horrible story, but I want you to know about it so you don't fall for this scam. Jocelyn lost her husband, John, in 2019. So she joined, as I said, a widowers community on TikTok. And she saw a TikTok post on a different way that she could maybe honor her husband and have his memory there at any given moment. But he was cremated. So there was this video that was showing how an artist created a person's face using their ashes. So she said, wow, this is really great. I would love to have a portrait of my husband using his ashes as memories, very special memory. So she reaches out to them and they say, yeah, you know what? This is great. Just go ahead and send us your husband's ashes and, make the payment $500 and then we'll send you the portrait back. Well, instead of getting the portrait back, she got an email from whoever this person was and says, we have seized your loved one's ashes and you're going to need to pay us $3,756 to get them back. Ransomware using ashes. Now, Jocelyn says, I am not paying these scammers, but they haven't stopped hounding her about it. But all she has left of his ashes is some of his ashes left in an urn and a few of his ashes in a necklace that she wears every single day. I just hope there's a special place in hell for those people. All right, coming up, we have some great tips that you don't want to miss, like, for example, some big changes at Airbnb you need to know about, and Also, how to get some Z's with the best podcasts and get some good sleep. And of course, we have all of your phone calls here on The Kim Komando Show. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you have not already entered to win our $500 Amazon.com giveaway, you're missing out. Head over to komando.com/win. That's komando.com/win. And how about we start with Samantha in West Palm Beach, Florida. Hello there, Samantha.
I used to work at a former company where I was bullied. And as a result, I just wasn't happy there, so I quit and left. And I noticed a few weeks after I left that my phone has been hacked, as well as my devices, my social media account, emails, and I suspect that it's former colleagues that I used to work with. So, of course, I filed a police report, and they basically said there was really nothing they can do because, once I put myself out on social media, have access to my, information. So they suggested that I basically just, shut down my social media, change out my phone number and whatnot. So
Sure.
I went ahead and did what they said. And on top of that, I scrubbed my laptop, put a VPN on my phone, as well as my other devices, have internet security on there, even changed out my router, my, modem. And yet I still suspect that they are still hacking into my devices. So I've done everything I can, and I'm not sure what additional stuff I need to do. So I'm reaching out for some assistance to kind of mitigate the situation.
Wait, this is really a nightmare scenario, huh? I mean, this is time draining, emotion draining, and
Yes.
why do you think they're doing this to you?
It had a lot to do with, when I was there, there was a situation that occurred and it got taken out of context, a comment I made. And, I, did my best to, reach out to HR about it, and, try to mitigate the situation. But,
What did you say? What was the comment that you made?
The comment that I made was basically it was a meeting, and our boss was asking us about, what was our favorite animal or dog for that instance. And I basically said to them, my favorite dog is a Shih Tzu because it's cute and small like me. And they, of course, took the comment out of context because at the time when I was saying it, I was directing it at somebody. And but of course, they were offended by it. And I totally apologized to the individual that I made that comment to. And yet it just ended up spiraling out of control.
Okay, this seems pretty. I mean, this seems pretty lame, Sam.
It is.
I mean, for a group of adults who are probably educated to say, we don't like that she likes a small, cute dog because she's small and cute, so we're going to make her life a living hell. I mean,
yeah.
And so what are they doing now?
So, like I said, I suspect that they have access to my devices. So, for instance, when I read my emails, I would read it and it doesn't make sense because, again, they're targeting based on the comment that I made in that meeting.
So when you say that the comments on social media, are they leaving dog pictures around, or what makes you think that it's them?
The fact that, like you said, if I would look at an ad, for instance, if I'm maybe scrolling through maybe Apple News, for instance, I'm just going to use them, and I am reading an article. As I'm reading the article, I'm just going to use an example for an ad that I'm looking at. The ad looks misconfigured. It doesn't even look the same, and it's kind of odd to me because I would think the ad would be proportioned properly, as I'm, reading the, article. So on that instance, I'm thinking, okay, I'm suspecting somebody has gone into my, iCloud account. Another instance is where, I was like maybe going into one of my, something I would maybe follow. So for instance, as I'm like maybe typing in my email, and I would see totally different iCloud accounts, like, how it auto-populates, and I would see different, iCloud accounts that I can't recognize. One of them is not mine. So it's like those type of suspicions I have, like someone else is logging into my account, under a different, iCloud account, or email.
Well, yeah, but they're not, but if somebody's typing in a different iCloud account, they're not getting into your account. Okay? They're logging in. And if nobody else has access to your computer, well, that's a red flag. So let's go through real quickly everything that you've done, and then maybe we have some ideas afterwards. Okay. So you've canceled. So you've canceled. Have you gotten a new iCloud account?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a new iCloud account. You're not using the same passwords. You have a new modem. You have a new router.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you get a new cell phone?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you got
and
a new
phone number.
And you got a new phone number. Okay. And you've changed all the passwords to all your accounts. Okay.
Yes.
And you've changed the login password to your laptop, even though you have a new laptop. We're going to make sure we're not doing all that. You have new social media accounts that don't look or tied to anything that you had in the past, right?
Yes.
Sam, I just want you to take a deep breath. And if you still feel that this may be happening, then you have to go to a higher authority than me. You have to go talk to somebody who may be in a different place in order to help you. But I can tell you from security standpoints, I think you've got yourself in a pretty good spot, and I wouldn't worry about it. Sam, thank you for your call. I have to tell you something. I get so many calls and questions about people who think that they're being hacked. And sometimes they are really being hacked, and sometimes they are really being tracked. But sometimes their mind is doing tricks. And I'd love to hear from a therapist or a counselor who can provide support and guidance with me for these people. And if you are such that person, just drop me a note on the website with some of your tips and also a way that I can get a hold of you. Hey, stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls and more tips, tricks, and secrets you don't want to miss here on The Kim Komando Show. Okay, we have a tip coming up in just a few moments, all about signs that your phone or computer is infected with a keylogger. And let's see, back to the phones we go with Colleen in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, I'm just super psyched to talk to you. I've been listening to you for years and years and years, and I'm a fan, and I'm nervous and excited to talk to you.
Okay, don't be nervous. Just pretend it's just you and me and 6 million other people listening. That's all.
Sounds good. Okay, so I have two young adult children who have created organic, large followings on social media. One is a wildlife photographer, and the other is a musician, surfer, hair care type stuff, and they have a huge following. In TikTok, my son is up to 1.5 million followers. My daughter up to 88.4 thousand, and then on Instagram, my son 231,000. My daughter is increasing as we speak, but she's at 5,921.
Okay, she's starting out.
They have a lot of engagement, a lot of commenting, and my son in particular, the following has created more traffic on his website, and he sells a lot of his prints as a result.
Let me tell you, I've looked at your kids' accounts because you sent me an email.
Yeah, thank you.
Number one, your son looks like Casey from Yellowstone. That's strikingly
another thing that has gained him a lot of popularity. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
He needs to say, "Here I am in Yellowstone, and here are the bison." Okay, that you see on the show, and then your daughter. Oh my gosh, her hair is amazing. It is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
and
it's beautiful.
And she's beautiful. You can tell she's beautiful inside and out when you listen to her videos. She's very cute. Well, congrats to you on being a great mom. and now you're trying to figure out how to take them to the next level on social, right?
Well, a lot of people have told us that they should be making a lot of passive income on this because of their following, and that's not happening. And we're not a real technologically savvy family, so just wondering if you have any tips on that.
Okay, well, a couple of things is number one, you mentioned TikTok. With TikTok, there are some ways that they can just apply to be to be a creator on TikTok, and we're going to send you a link to that. And there are some requirements, like you have to have at least 10,000 followers, which we have, and then at least 100,000 video views in the last 30 days, which they have. Okay, so that's just a gimme that we're just going to go ahead and do that. The next step is that many influencers in their bio, they'll say, open for sponsorship opportunities. And so maybe with your son, some of these posts that are in Wyoming or whatever it may be, is that we could have sponsored posts. And that's where brands will pay to have their products featured in front of your son or daughter's audience. Okay. And so it's going to be a unique promo code, a link, and they're going to have to, the advertising companies will track the success of the campaigns. Another thing that some of the influencers do it's affiliate marketing. So let's say your daughter has a line of hair care products that she likes on Amazon, is that she can just create herself an Amazon account, use those affiliate links, and then anytime somebody buys something on Amazon, she'll get some money back. There's also brand deals, collaborations, and this is where they host events. Maybe your son might want to host a Nikon wildlife photography party or something like that. And create custom content that is part of a brand deal or collaboration. Merch is so big with these influencers. Matter of fact, my son goes to USC and he was wearing a green sweatshirt. I was FaceTiming last night and I said, wow, that's a really great sweatshirt you have on. He goes, oh yeah, I bought it from some YouTube dude. Okay, he bought it from some YouTube dude. And I said, well, how much was the sweatshirt? He's like, oh, $45. Okay. You and I both know that sweatshirt probably cost that YouTube dude about $8. Okay. But so he's selling it through YouTube, which, if the kids are not already on YouTube, I would encourage them to make sure that there's also have YouTube channels. I know they like to hang out on TikTok, but let's make sure that we have all the social covered.
I didn't send you their YouTube. My son is at 6.8 thousand subscribers, but they haven't given a lot of attention to YouTube.
Because you know what? They're focused on TikTok. But whatever they put on TikTok, just have them shoot it over to YouTube. That's all. It's that easy. But with the merch, they have, like I mentioned, clothing. There's beauty products, makeup products. There's ebooks. There's courses. And then another way that they can make some money is by saying that I can consult you on how to make your own YouTube or TikTok account with 1 million followers. And so they could be some different coaches. But just remember that the influencers, they get paid on metrics, and everything now is trackable. And the metrics are reach, engagement, and conversions. That's reach. You just have to remember that. Reach, engagement, and conversion. So how many people are we reaching? How many people are we engaging? But the real key is the ROI. How many conversions are we getting? Okay. So there's a whole business behind all this. But again, in their bio, they can say, open for branding deals or whatever it may be. Have them look and see what the bigger ones, what they have in their bio, and or a couple of lines. Now, just keep in mind, I'd warn them both that when you put that, the scammers come out of the woodwork. And so whatever they get, you always have to make sure, tell them you're not paying money to make money. And maybe just in the beginning, you just Colleen, you just take a look at everything, just be the sanity check. And because you've got more life experience, you don't have to have tech experience. I'm talking about life experience.
Yeah.
And you've been around long enough that if your gut tells you that it's no good, it's probably no good. And if you have any questions about whether or not it's legit, just keep in mind, you can always give me a call back. And Colleen, tell the kids I said hello. Tell them to hey, hello, tag me once in a while. I would appreciate that. And that would be pretty sweet. Colleen, once again, Thanks for your call and your kind words and for listening through the show and trusting me with some advice for your own kids. Okay, here's a joke you can tell your favorite nerd friends. Okay, you ready? How can you tell the difference between an influencer on social media and a computer tech? Okay. How can you tell the difference between a social media influencer and a computer tech? Ask them to pronounce the word BIOS. That's right. Just ask them. Ask them to pronounce that word BIOS. All right. Hackers and scammers are a constant threat. We hear about it. And these keyloggers, programs that record every single thing that you do. Employers are using them to monitor worker activity. Parents are using them to keep tabs on their kids. But crooks and maybe stalkers and hackers are using them to steal from you. So how do you know if they're really there? Okay, keyloggers can be hard to find, but most antivirus programs will pick them up. But some keyloggers are being updated with all new ways to outsmart detection. You may have to do a little digging. And so you might start looking and searching for your computer for names like Refog or Spytech or Revealer, Artimax, WinSpy, Spyrix, Danusoft. Okay, don't worry if you missed any of those names. I'm going to tell you exactly where you can get the entire list. And then we're going to walk you through, if you do find them, how to remove these programs on your Mac and also on your PC. But what about your phone? Okay. Is your phone running slow? Is it running hot? Is the battery draining faster than usual? Maybe you start seeing some apps that you don't know where they came from. Well, it could be signs that you have a keylogger, you have some malware on your phone. Another sign is that if your phone is start using some high data usage, something suspicious may be going in the background, maybe some unexplained charges on your bills and some pop-up ads. So we're going to tell you how to look for those as well as to remove those type of apps on your Android and phone, but on your Android and your iPhone rather. But you want to avoid the problem before it even begins. Always keep your devices up to date. Be careful of opening any links, clicking on any ads, because some of these links might actually be secretly installing a keylogger on your system. Use two-factor authentication. Only download apps from official stores like Google Play and the Apple Store. And really just be very, very careful. If you get anything on your system, any email, whatever it may be, I want you to always remember our mantra. Okay? It's our mantra here. We came up with it on the Kim Komando Show. I want you to stop and think. Don't click that link. I want you to remember this at all times when you get something that is unexpected. You don't know where it came from. It looks legit, but maybe it's not. I just want you to don't go so fast. I want you to stop and think and don't click that link. All right, for more information about this, as well as all the steps, the list of the programs that I mentioned, just head over to komando.com, and there on the homepage, there's a link that says Kim Show, and that's where you find all those direct links. All right, you want to stay right where you are because we have more of your great phone calls, as well as a tip that has to do with men and putting your phone in your pocket. Why that is just a really, really bad idea in today's times. And of course, you have more of me. You wouldn't want to miss that, Kim Komando. Hey, just a quick reminder that if you're not getting the Kim Komando podcasts, what are you waiting for? Come on. You get Kim Komando Today is our Monday through Friday podcast. But I will tell you, Friday's a little bit different on the Kim Komando Today podcast. Friday is when, we take I guess you'd say an irreverent look at technology. And Allie's on board as well as Matt. And we talk about what's happening on the internet. And we have our What the Heck headline of the week, our trivia, some tips and some news. And again, that's Kim Komando Today, Monday through Friday. Wherever you get your podcast, just search for Komando with a K, of course. Yes, that's Komando. All right, Philip in Chancellor, Alabama. Hi there, Philip.
Okay, so I recently had to get a new TV, and I bought a Hisense. It's a Chinese brand, Chinese built. And with all the recent security concerns, do I need to be concerned about hooking this up to my network? And if so, what kind of precautions do I need to take?
Very good question, Philip. You get a gold star today. Okay.
Yay! Head of the class.
Yay. These Internet of Things, there's really no security standards, so to speak. And I'm not just talking about smart TVs. I'm talking about cameras and light switches and everything else under the sun, sprinklers, even the smart crock pots and refrigerators and washers and dryers and things like that. And I'm all for a smart home, but I want you to put them all on a guest network so that this way your Internet of Things, your smart TV, doesn't have access to your main network that may have access to say, where you do all your banking, for example. Also on the TV is that you may have something called remote management, and that would allow you to manage your TV remotely. So I would turn that off so that this way nobody can go into the network through your television. I know somebody's listening right now going, Kim, it's a TV. I know, but it's a computer. That's all it is. Your TV is just a computer now. And believe it or not, you can put a VPN on your TV. And so it's a smart TV, and so you can put a VPN, it will encrypt the internet connection and protect your privacy while you're using the smart TV. And finally, just be careful about third-party apps that you put on the TV. And if there's some built-in Hisense apps, maybe you don't use those. You download Netflix and wherever from the Google Play Store or what have you. And and another thing that a lot of people are doing, even with their streaming accounts, is they're setting up a separate username and password, separate email address and password for all the streaming accounts that's not tied to their primary email account. And so, like, for example, if you have a Gmail account, let's say you're the best looking guy named Philip ever in Alabama at gmail.com. Okay. And so with your Netflix account, it would be the best looking guy named Philip from Alabama. And then you put a plus Netflix. And then at Gmail, because anything after that plus sign is that Google ignores. So this way you have separate email addresses for all your accounts, but it's still going to your primary. And if you're not using Gmail, there's always ways to do it on the other one. So, secure your wireless network, put it on a guest network, disable the remote management, put on a VPN if you'd like, and make sure that you update the firmware too. A lot of people don't realize that when they get a brand new TV. And Philip, once again, thank you for your call. Just having a guest network is a darn good idea, really. Because it can actually, as I mentioned, help separate devices from the main network and to this whole Internet of Things that doesn't have any security standards. It also lets you set a bandwidth management. So you could have two networks, and maybe if it was a guest network just for people who are visiting, you can only allocate a certain amount of bandwidth to them. And then really there's the whole convenience factor. So let's say you have guests come over. Well, there's a couple of ways you could let them know about your Wi-Fi network name and password. You can always I love this, you create a QR code. Go to QR Code Monkey and then just type in your network name and password, and then you put a QR code on the refrigerator or what have you, and then guests can just use their phone and then sign right into the network. They don't need to tell them anything, they just put their phone up there. But in addition to that, if you had a guest network and you didn't want to give away a QR code or anything like that or make it, is that it makes it really easy for guests to connect to the internet with them not having to ask you, what's the password to your Wi-Fi network? And you're like, I don't really know what that is. I haven't had to enter that in a long time. All right. So make that QR code or just put it on a guest network. Okay. If you're a young man who someday wants a family or perhaps expand the family that you have, there's a new danger from your smartphone I need to pass along. Researchers in South Korea, where many of the world's smartphones are made, they've discovered that low-level radio frequency electromagnetic radiation that the phone constantly emits, even when you're not talking, even when you're not texting, can damage your brain, your heart, and your endocrine system, which is why I'm an advocate of never putting the phone right up to your ear. Now, for young men who are putting their phones in their pockets, research confirms that there's a definite link between cell phone use and decrease in sperm mobility, viability, and concentration. So the issue is how and where you're carrying your phone. Holding it in your hand is convenient. Carrying in your pocket, even your back pocket, though, can cause some damage. Hey, don't keep all this tech know-how a secret. Tell 3 friends about this show because every single thing is now a tech thing. And you can find me 24/7 over at Komando.com. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
It's the Kim Komando Show podcast. Thank you for listening. This is from the weekend of January 14th, 2023. And here's hour 2.
Okay, I always like to start with something interesting. And let me tell you, I don't know if you've been tracking the news, but there are just a ton of layoffs in the tech world. So far this year, 2023, we have almost 20,000 tech jobs that have been cut. In 2022, almost 100,000 jobs, 18,000 for Amazon, 11,000 over at Meta, 9,000 people over at Salesforce, Twitter, 3,700 at any given day, it seemed like. But the reason why I bring this up is not just because you should know what's going on inside the tech industry, but big news today is about Tim Cook. The headline is, Apple CEO Tim Cook voluntarily took a 40% pay cut in 2023. 40% pay cut. So after he took the 40% pay cut, how much do you think Tim Cook is making per year? Okay, he is Apple's CEO, obviously major league successful company. How much do you think he's making this year? I'll tell you, $49 million in total compensation for the year 2023. Imagine making $49 million a year. Wow. It must have been really hard taking over for Steve Jobs, though, as he did. It reminds me of that old Steve Jobs joke, okay? Here, you can tell this one to your family members and friends. So Steve Jobs, he goes to heaven. And as he steps up to the pearly gates, St. Peter looks at him with a frowny face and says, Steve, you know how we feel about apples up here. Okay, get it? Sometimes I just crack myself up. Hey, welcome to the nation's largest show about all things digital. It's an award-winning show, as a matter of fact, and I'm America's digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you once again. And you're about to get more tech smarts because everything is tech nowadays. And if you're a new listener, welcome. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. And let me tell you, you can find the Kim Komando Show on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And if you're ever looking for your local station, make sure you hit komando.com and use that station finder. It's really super handy. And then we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando, of course. And then you can get the show as a podcast, as a webcast, all 3 hours. Use the message boards, get help. And you can sign up right now over at getkim.com. So support our programming, support what we do. If you've learned one thing, just costs just a couple of bucks a month. Head over to getkim.com, and we've got discounts for seniors, service personnel, military, former serving, and a whole bunch more. Let me tell you, you can just get a discount over at getkim.com. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. All right, every single day I visit at least 30 different websites to keep you guys and gals up to date. And this is part of the show where I'd like to talk about some brands, some websites, how some things may be trying to scam you and what you need to watch out for. And also maybe some new products. And number one, we're going to start with, if you order dog food on Amazon, you might get a surprise. What? Yes. A guy in Arkansas opened up a box he thought was filled with all of his little puppy's dog food. But instead, the box, he received 65 illegal license plates. Imagine that. You just want dog food, and instead you get 65 illegal license plates. Guys sit there going, this doesn't make sense. So he got the police involved, and they started this huge investigation. Now, since November, as it turns out, Amazon has been working with Homeland Security to kind of figure out what's going on with this global narcotics ring that's using its name to ship meth under the guise of decorative stones. That's right, like the little stones you put on the path. Talk about getting stoned. Now it seems criminals are doing the same thing with license plates and dog food. So investigators have found at least 5 different vendors that are using Amazon to ship narcotics all around the world. If it happens to you, call the cops. Next on our list, self-driving does not mean that it's safe driving. If you think that Tesla's self-driving mode works, aside from all the people that are getting killed by using it, this just happened. A Model S in full self-driving mode going over the San Francisco Bay Bridge. Tons of traffic. Stops. Just abruptly stops. Okay. Thankfully, nobody died, but it was an 8-car pileup, injured 9 people, including a 2-year-old kid. Now, what's ironic about this is that this was just hours after Elon Musk announced that Tesla's full self-driving feature was available all throughout the United States. It's fabulous. It works. You're going to love it. Not so much. I have to tell you, I bought a Tesla. I put a few hundred miles on it. It was a Plaid. I sold it. It is not a great car. It feels cheap. It doesn't even work with Apple CarPlay. And it was a shame about the Tesla driver that crashed while he was watching a movie. He really should have been watching the trailer. All right, number 3, Apple takes another swipe at Google if you're using Apple Maps. Finally, Apple is getting some of the features that Google Maps has had for many, many years. We're talking about new photos with businesses, buttons, promotions, kind of like what pops up when you are using Google asking it for directions. You can do in-app reservations now. There are photos of location. You can order directly from your phone. And Apple says that this is going to change the experience for everyone forever. Well, until Google makes another update, and then we have to go ahead and do that piggyback again, what Google has and Apple has, and then Samsung is also in the mix. Oh, I'll tell you. Number 4 on our list is a term that you need to know. It's called ghost kitchens. That's right, the International House of Ghost Kitchens. If you ever use DoorDash or any of the food ordering apps, I know in Phoenix, there's a place on Indian School near 44th Street that has 6 Thai restaurants inside one Thai restaurant. So what the restaurants do is that they create all these sub-restaurants. And so when you go to order, you think you're ordering from someplace else because it has a different name, when actually you're ordering from the same place, but maybe the prices are different. And so on TikTok, there is a video that was going viral about ghost kitchens operating out of an IHOP. What? Yes. The video has 2.1 million views. And what do you think some of the names of the IHOP restaurants are, the ghost restaurants? Okay. How about Super Mega Dilla? Okay, I guess so. I thought this one was actually cute. Thrilled cheese. Let's see, there are others. In Chili's, they have a ghost kitchen called It's Just Wings. And then there's Cosmic Wings. Where do you think Cosmic Wings is operating out of? Okay, Applebee's. The Burger Den is really Denny's. And by the way, for our younger listeners, IHOP, it is not an internet brewery. It's not. It's the International House of Pancakes. And finally, this coming in at number 5. Yes, your boss is really watching you when you're working at home. One third of medium to large U.S. companies have some way that they are checking in on their remote from home employees. Microsoft says that 85% of business leaders say they question if hybrid or remote workforces were actually productive. So what's happening is that remote employees are developing these special skills. Like, for example, you open a PowerPoint slide to make it look like you're presenting. Okay, then people think you're working. How about keeping your mouse moving? Some people are connecting their mouses up to fans to make it look like their mouse is still doing something. There's also these mouse jigglers. They are a device that you put your mouse on and it kind of moves the mouse around and it looks like you're not away from the screen. One on Amazon has over 9,000 5-star reviews. Wow, I'll tell you. You know, my job allows me to work from home, but I still go to the office. You know why? Because I like the idea of surrounding myself with some company. Oh, okay. All right, coming up, how you can get Microsoft Office and these other big programs for free. And then we've got a great tip on how you can keep track of all your streaming shows. Oh, and our money tip this week is all the off-the-wall ways that you never thought of that you can be making a buck while you're sitting there at home. And of course, we have all of your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Komando. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And hey, you can always drop me your question over on our website. That's komando.com. And in the top right-hand corner, yeah, it's old school, but I like it. There's a link that says email Kim. That's where I read every single note that you send me. All right, how about we get started with Wayne in Springfield, Missouri. Hi, Wayne.
Hi, Kim. I can't believe I'm actually talking to you. I've been listening to you probably since the late 90s.
I've been around that long. I've been doing this is what you call an overnight success, Wayne. Okay.
Well, what I was calling about was I'm kind of a third party in this. Okay. I've got a friend who gave me a call. She has a friend who is married to a military veteran. And they've been married, I guess, for 27 years. He was deployed over into the Middle East, Iraq, and Bosnia, and during that time he got received a TBI, traumatic brain injury, and came back a changed man.
So sad.
He's kind of he's kind of explosive, controlling, and alcoholic. And anyway, basically, she's been putting up for this with this for years, and finally has just kind of woken up and started asking for help. She asked my friend, she's helping her with some problems, and they came to me for some technical advice. And I've done a little research, and the problem is he's tracking her iPhone.
With an iPhone, he has an iPhone, probably anxious, wondering where she is, what she's doing, controlling, like you said. Right. It gets pretty hard to block somebody on an iPhone if the other person has an iPhone and they want to make sure that tracking is done. Because she can turn off location services, this, by going to settings, privacy, location, right? You turn it off. Okay.
Right.
She can turn off share my location, but let me tell you, when he goes to find out where she is and he can't find her, he's going to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know him, but I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah,
possibility?
That's right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. If she forgets her iPhone at home, then he gets really upset. So that's how she's probably figured out that, he's tracking her.
Okay. She can remove her iCloud account. Okay. But if her husband has the credentials, he can still go online and say, find my through his iCloud account and be able to see her. She could factory reset the phone. She could be careful of installing apps, but this guy's still going to go crazy if he doesn't know where she is.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is she in a situation where she needs to go to, the domestic violence hotline, anything like that? Is her safety in jeopardy?
It might be a little bit, but my friend's handling that side of it with getting her a little, some legal help and an exit strategy, stuff like that. So,
I would pass. No, and I wish I had a better answer. I would encourage her, whatever phone she has, is make sure that she knows how to use emergency SOS. Just hit the power button on her iPhone 5 times, and then it will get her some help. And in addition to that, Wayne, there's a new feature in the new iOS. It's called Safety Check. And this is made precisely for this situation, where if you are in a relationship situation where you need to be able to cut all ties, Safety Check does an emergency reset, and it cuts off all other devices, anybody who had access to her account. It shuts off her location data, changes her passwords, and locks everybody out of her iCloud account. And where it is, in case you want to share it with her or when it comes time, it's settings, privacy and security, and then it's called Safety Check.
Okay.
So did I at least help you out?
Yeah, the last two things could come in handy in case he needs to, make an exit and cut all ties. I think it's the best. I think that's the best you could do. I couldn't find anything either.
Yeah, the only other, another app you might want to put on her phone, we've got links to them over at the website, is like one's called Kitestring and another one's called Panic Button. Actually, there's a few apps I should tell you about. Um, the Kitestring, the Panic Button, they pretty much work the same way. It's really geared for if you're walking through a dark parking lot, and what you do is you hold down the virtual panic button on your phone, and if you let go of the button, then it calls 911 or alerts emergency contacts. There's also some apps that are put out by the National Domestic Violence Hotline, some apps that, let's say she was trying to look things up on her phone, and instead of her using Google, she uses another app. And the app doesn't, I'm not sure exactly what it is. They change the name of the app, for obvious reasons, periodically. But the last time I looked at it, it looked like a news app, but it had a hidden browser so that if you want to look things up, that if whoever picked up your phone, they wouldn't see what you were looking up.
Okay.
So there are some apps like that. Let me put together some tools for you, and for everybody else, we'll put together a list of apps and maybe some ideas. Really hard, obviously very difficult situation that you're in, Wayne. And if there's anything that I can do, if you want me to talk to your friend of a friend and maybe walk her through one-on-one on some of these options that she could take on her phone or burner phones, I'm more than happy to do that offline, off the air, just one-on-one, me and her. Just let me know. And again, thank you for your call. All right, if you're paying for Microsoft Office or Adobe Photoshop, why? Instead of paying for Microsoft Office, you can check out LibreOffice. It's absolutely free, has a word processor, spreadsheets, presentations, databases, and more. Or you can take a look at Google Drive. Adobe Photoshop, super expensive. The free photo editor GIMP is really, really good. And if you are using Adobe Illustrator, also a pricey program, you can save a lot of money by using Inkscape instead. We have links to all of those over at komando.com. Stay right where you are. We have a great tip about 5 off-the-wall ways to make money you don't want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, yes, I'm calling it Commanding the Tech World Trivia, because we've all seen how the world has changed because of technology. But you may not know the backstory, the insider secrets that makes this digitally connected world just go round and round, like this. What was the first message sent over the internet? The very first message sent over the internet. Well, it happened on October 29th, 1969. The message was supposed to say log in, Login, but there was a glitch, and only the first 2 letters were sent between a guy at UCLA and a guy at Stanford, and it was LO. And then after the message was sent, the whole system crashed. So when playing Commanding the Tech World Trivia, you need to really think beyond just the headlines. And our very special guest contestant and victim joining us this week is going to get a most valuable prize. It's the Kim Komando Show official fanny pack. And Daryl in Moscow, Idaho. Hello there, Daryl.
Hi, Kim. How are you doing?
Have you ever shopped on Amazon.com?
Oh, yes, I have.
I think we all have, right? All right, so
Yeah.
Today's trivia question is all about Amazon. Okay, let me give you some fun facts first about Amazon. It was founded in 1994 by Jeff Bezos in his garage as what? An online bookstore, right? And now it's, of course, one of the largest e-commerce companies in the world. Now, the first book ever sold on Amazon, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you what it was. But just in case you're ever on Jeopardy, that answer is Fluid Concepts and Creative Analogies, right? Computer Models of the Fundamental Mechanisms of Thought by Douglas Hofstadter. Okay, all right, we'll never remember that. But the thing that I'm bringing up is the first word of Amazon. I mean, the first company name. What before it was going to be called Amazon, Jeff Bezos and the gang, they came up with another word that they wanted to call it. And they wanted to call it Cadabra, like abracadabra, but just Cadabra. But they changed it because of which reason? So here's your answers. You have to guess whether it's A, B, C, or D is the right answer. Okay. What was the reason behind the change of the name from Cadabra to Amazon? Was it A, Jeff didn't like the way it was spelled or how it sounded? B, they weren't able to get every domain name for it in every single country? C, he actually traveled to the Amazon with his wife, and he was saying how huge and expansive it is, and that's what kind of company he wanted. Or D, he realized that the word cadabra had no meaning or association with books, because remember, he was just selling books at the time. So, what was the reason behind the change of the name from cadabra to Amazon?
Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to take a stab at it, and I'm going to say B.
So B was that he couldn't get every domain name in every single country. Okay, so that's your final answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're not right. I'm sorry. Okay. The answer is A. Cadabra. He said it sounded too much like cadaver. So he didn't want to have a company called Cadaver. So instead, he called it Amazon. And if you ever look at the logo for Amazon, you notice that there's an arrow underneath. And the arrow points from A to Z, meaning that they sell everything from A to Z. Some other fun facts for you is that their net sales in 2020, that was their latest financial results that I was taking a look at, $386 billion. Okay, just a little tiny company that was founded in his garage. And they have almost 900,000 employees. Whoa.
Wow.
Big time.
Wow.
Big time. All right. So I'm sorry you didn't win an official Kim Komando Show fanny pack, Daryl, but better luck next time. But thanks for playing along. Now, I know you have a question for me, so how can I help out?
Yes, I do. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your program. I'm not very illiterate in this stuff, so I'm learning, though, with the help of you and your show.
Oh, well, thank you. That's sweet.
Yeah, so my question is, I'd like to try and find an app for my phone that translates Spanish into English, but not only translates it, I can use my earbuds. Instead of just reading it, it'll translate in my ear.
Okay.
And
what are you using now?
I tried Google Translate, and that's about the only one I've tried.
And what don't you like about it?
When it translates into my earbuds, the voice, it's way it takes a long time for it to do that, because I can read it, and then it waits a little bit, and then I hear the voice translating it. And it doesn't keep up with the person speaking.
Sometimes when that happens, it could not necessarily be the app. Because before I give you another app, I just want to make sure that you have all the other variables taken care of. Like, for example, you have to be close enough to the speaker, the Spanish-speaking person, so that it can readily identify it. Because if it's, I don't know, it seems to me if it's 5 or 6 feet away, that it may not necessarily pick up every nuance, and it tries to fill in the blanks from what it's not hearing or what it's not picking up, because it may not be close enough. The mic may not just be close enough to them. Sometimes if you have a bad internet connection, that could also be a problem, because keep in mind this is translating, using the internet. And accordingly, the same way if you're on a bad Wi-Fi connection or a low Wi-Fi connection. So is any of that, are any of those scenarios happening possibly?
Well, this last time I was sitting right by the person, so I know that's not it. The Wi-Fi, I'm not sure. I'll have to check into that. Yeah.
And the internet connection. If possible, what you can also do is put a better microphone on the Spanish speaker, or like a wireless lav mic, and they're not very expensive, and I can send you some links to some. But as far as some other options, in case you do want to try it, there's Microsoft Translator, and they do over 60 languages, including Spanish to English. You can also download language packs for offline use, so you don't have to worry about that connection. There's also Reverso, there's iTranslate, there's something called Spanish Translate. But I think before we send you down the road of like Spanish Translate or iTranslate, try Microsoft Translator, because that might work best for you. And then again, just see if maybe it could be the cell connection, or maybe it's a bad Wi-Fi connection, and as you said, you're sitting pretty close. So, but this Google Translate, I'm telling you, if you have never tried it, oh my gosh, folks, you are so missing out. In addition to that, it also you can translate on the web too. Just go to translate.google.com. But as far as these real-time conversations, this is stuff of science fiction, and it's so thrilling that we are here in a time when you can actually use it. Daryl, thank you so much for your call, and better luck next time. I know you can win. Okay, I don't know if I should tell this joke. I think it is so funny. It's not risque, but maybe some people will say, oh, I can't believe you told that joke, Kim Komando. But since we're talking about translation, okay, it's my show. I can tell the joke. Okay, you ready? What's the German translation for bra? What's the German translation for bra? Anybody? Stop them from flopping. All right. What's the worst thing you can do is go on Google. You've heard me say this before, and search for how do I make money online? And we've got tons of lists on the website, but we're going to take it in a different direction this week. We have 5 off-the-wall ways that maybe you never thought of before how you can make money online. Number 1, you can babysit kids. I'm not talking about you having to go there and actually sit next to the kids to babysit them. There is now the Virtual Babysitters Club. And what you have to do is entertain the kids with dances and artwork. Maybe you read them a book, game show, puppet shows, and maybe just think of other ways that you can entertain the kids for an hour. And how much you're going to make is about, I don't know, maybe $18 to $20 an hour. Number 2 on our list is you can make money by losing weight and get healthy at the same time. Now, you're not going to make a ton of money. There's Healthy Wage. There's Diet Bet. That's where you start or join a weight loss challenge on the site, and you earn cash based on whether or not you make it. Stick K is an app for you to doing things like exercising or maybe even completing a marathon. Maybe that could be a goal of yours this year. Number 3 on our list is very strange. I've never understood it, but people are making a lot of money doing it. They eat food on social media, and other people watch them while they're eating their food. It's a big deal in Korea, by the way. It's called the mukbang trend. And YouTubers will film themselves eating 20 burgers as a challenge. I'm not saying that this is really a good idea, but if you want to learn more, we've got some links and also some steps on how you can create your own YouTube channel. Number 4 on our list, you can play Dungeons and Dragons and make money online. You can make up to $125 an hour. What you do is you have to become a dungeon master or a master storyteller. We'll tell you more about that on the website. And number 5 is you can teach classes about your passions, whatever it may be. Maybe you're an expert at sewing or at woodworking or business leadership or a motivational speaker. You can get started over at teachable.com. And if you're teaching a class, you can charge a premium. Maybe it's $100 a class, $150 a class. But of course, you want to get started like a little less than that, maybe $50 a class. So for links to all of these and more information about these 5 kind of off-the-wall ways that you probably never thought of that you can make money, head over to the website. That's komando.com. And in the top of the page, there's a link that says Kim Show. Just click that and you got it. All right, still to come, how you can keep track of all your streaming shows that you're watching the easy and fun way here on The Kim Komando Show. If you haven't already, make sure that you enter to win our $500 Amazon gift card. We're giving it away. Head over to komando.com/win. Do it now. We're going to be giving away that gift card in just a few weeks. And so I'm going to make sure that you have your chance to enter. And by the way, when you do enter, there are some ways that you can get additional entries by doing some fun things like maybe subscribing to a podcast or signing up for a newsletter or liking us on social media. And so again, that address is komando.com/win. Mark in Cedar Creek, Texas. Hello there, Mark.
Well, hello, Kim. It's an honor to speak with you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. What's going on?
Well, first I want to let you know I do listen to you every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 5 on, WVOC in Columbia, South Carolina via iHeartRadio. And
nice.
I also want to thank you for introducing me to the Epson EcoTank. I purchased one and I love it.
Yeah, that's, you know what? It's a fabulous printer, isn't it?
It is. It works terrific, and I'm watching my ink levels not go down, and it makes my life so much easier than always worrying about having to have extra cartridges lying around.
Oh, and those cartridges are so darn expensive, aren't they? Crazy.
They are. That's why they sell the printer itself so cheap, because they know they've got a market for their ink cartridges forever. So I want to thank you for that. The reason for my call today is I am creating some basically final documents that I need to type up and print out. And some of the documents are going to have very sensitive information about where assets are located, how to access liquid assets, etc. And I want to know if there's a way, once I first of all type it up, which leaves it on a computer, and then I'm going to be printing them out. Is there a way to delete these documents so that they are completely deleted, as opposed to just freeing up computer space, worrying about passwords and that sort of thing?
Yeah. It's a valid concern, Mark. Couple of things that you can do, and we're going to go through these fairly quickly, and then we're going to make sure that all this is on the website for you to follow it and give you the links. But number one is that you can use what's called a shredding tool. And these are programs that will overwrite the data on your hard drive. And so this way, the whole idea is that even though you delete a file, it's not gone for good totally, right? It's just sitting there and waiting until something else overwrites it. And then once it gets overwritten, then that data is gone. So a couple of tools like Eraser, another one's called Secure Erase. Another option is you can encrypt the documents before you delete them. So you encrypt them before you delete them, and that makes them unreadable. And there are different tools for that for using encryption. Windows has BitLocker, and then there's also another one called, I think, VeraCrypt. You could also wipe the disk, and that will overwrite that free space. CC Cleaner does that fairly well, but just be careful. Sometimes I'm getting a lot of complaints about the recent version from some reason. And also disk wipe. You could physically destroy the hard drive. But I think probably your best bet is that you type up all these documents that you want, okay? And then you encrypt the files. And then after you encrypt the files, that's when you remove the files, so that this way nobody will be able to get that data that you've been typing up and what's in there. And, this way it's all just gone for good. Again, we're going to write all this up and make sure that's on the website. So in case you need the links to these tools as well as some more information, you know where you can get it. That's at Komando.com. Hey, by the way, if you need any links to any of those file shredding programs that I mentioned, just hit the website. Of course, that's Komando.com. All right, so how many different streaming shows are you watching? Okay, Yellowstone, there's 1923. There's oh, gosh, I can't even think of all the ones on Netflix. The list just goes Stranger Things. The list just goes on and on and on. I'm trying to think of all the ones that I'm watching. Actually, I've kind of stopped watching some streaming shows because I just felt like it was just becoming too much of a time suck to say, when are the new episodes? But I will tell you a streaming show that I absolutely loved, George and Tammy. If you're looking for kind of a true story to watch, George and Tammy's, it's about George Strait and Tammy Wynette. 5 episodes. I enjoyed every single one. All right, when you start talking about all these streaming shows, it's always hard to know when a new season will drop. And a little fun fact, there's about 150 channels and streaming shows to watch. Wow, okay. So what you want to do is look at a site called Real Good and Just Watch. They do basically the same thing. You can check the channels and the streaming service that you have. You add the shows and the movies that you watch, might want to check out. And then you're notified when new episodes are coming or when they drop. Now, either Real Good or Just Watch works on any show and any upcoming movies that you'd like to see. And by the way, Real Good is real, like movie reel, REEL, Real Good, and then also Just Watch. I prefer Just Watch, but I like to give you a couple of options just in case. And you'll find more information about that, too, over on the website. I'd like you to do me a favor. I want you to tell at least 3 friends about this show, because every single thing is now a tech thing, and you can find me at Komando.com.
up to hour 3. It's the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of January 14th, 2023.
I always like to start with something fun and interesting. And I don't know if you know this, but Elon Musk has a pile of kids. That's right. He has 9 children. And I wanted to figure out, where did the 9 come from? Well, he has a set of twins from a woman that worked for him at Neuralink, a company that he owns. And then with that musician Grimes, he has a daughter that they named Y and a son that they named X. He has a set of twins and a set of triplets with his first wife. And why all the kids? Musk says that he's helping the underpopulation crisis. He says that that's the reason why Earth will someday be nothing. Then I started thinking about it more. What country actually has the fastest growing population? What country has the fastest growing population? It's Ireland. That's right. Because it's Dublin every year. Get it, Dublin? All right. Welcome to the nation's largest and award-winning show about all things digital. I'm America's digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you. And you're about to get more tech smarts because you need it. And if you are a regular listener to the show, we're so glad that you're here and welcome back. And if you're a brand new listener, special welcome to you. Yes, absolutely. And you can find the Kim Komando Show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app, as well as you can get us as a podcast, as a webcast, 24/7 over at getkim.com. And it's a great way for you to support our programming and everything that we do here every single day on the shows and also over on the website. And you can hear us on the American Forces Network Radio. And a special thank you goes out to our servicemen and women in the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force who are protecting our great nation while I speak. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open. I'd love to hear from you at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. All right, every single day I read the news pages and I look at 30 different websites to make sure that you're all up to date. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about the numbers and go behind the numbers and tell you what it actually means. So our first number is $105 a year. $105 a year to use the engine in your car. What is that? Okay, think back to your first car. What was it? Your first car, was it really nice or was it a clunker junker? Well, mine was okay. It was a used Pontiac Sunbird. Didn't like it. It was, now when I think about it, pretty low tech because now we are having basically cars are computers on wheels. We have Bluetooth connections and infotainment displays. Well, BMW made headlines last year because remember, if this car is a computer, it can get updates and features and also get it over the air. But BMW made headlines last year for $18. Yes, that was $18 a month to have heated seats in your car. It's a feature already built in most luxury cars, but BMW is going to turn it on and then charge you that money every month. Now, this past week, they came out with another one. Yes, thank you, BMW. $105 a year to remotely start your car. $105 to hit that button to remotely start your car, either in the app or on the car's fob itself. Other manufacturers, Toyota, they were already doing this. And Subaru and Kia, they are saying, we are really going to get more into the subscription-based business. So when you buy a car, you need to ask about any subscriptions. Word to the wise. I got invited to test a new car made entirely of spare computer parts. Whew. It was a hard drive. You got it. All right, number 2. $7,500 back you're going to get if you buy an EV? Maybe not so much. Certain car makers, you can get up to $7,500 tax credit. But here's the deal. The tax credit is given in 2 parts. To get the first $3,750, a percentage of the batteries material need to be from the United States or a country that has a free trade agreement with us here in the United States. Now, to get the other half, well, guess what? The majority of the batteries components would have to be made in the U.S., Canada, or Mexico. Now, sadly, China is the world's leading supplier of materials for the batteries. So you might not get that full tax credit back when you get your new ride. And in case you want to see if your car is eligible before you buy it, go to this website, fueleconomy.gov. Once again, that's fueleconomy.gov. Volkswagen is finally manufacturing electric cars here in the United States, but you might be wondering why it just took them so long. Well, it took them a while because they had to get all the bugs worked out. Number 3, 2/3 of teens are using TikTok. Does that really surprise you? Another number I heard is 160 million Americans are on TikTok. You know, TikTok is fun, but is it really worth your privacy? Because every single thing that you do on TikTok is tracked. Every single thing. They get your voice print, your facial ID, your photos, your texts. And with good reason, Wisconsin and North Carolina just joined 2 other states in banning TikTok on any state-owned device. The U.S. Armed Forces already prohibits the app on military devices, and it makes total sense. So if you want to use TikTok, what is my recommendation? How do you stay on TikTok and still stay safe? Because TikTok, as you know, is owned by the communist Chinese government. And so conceptually, with 160 million people having their apps on their smart devices, think of the power that they have to go ahead and push down an update to that app that does something really, really bad. Maybe it's showing a deepfake video. Maybe it's giving a false evacuation alert. Maybe it's tying into your home Wi-Fi network, and then suddenly you get into the power grid. See, where it's not just that TikTok is getting all of your personal information. It's also that TikTok is gaining power to really do something pretty horrible to every phone that this app is on. And so if you are so bent on using TikTok, you can't get rid of it, you love it, what I want you to do is get an old device, an old phone, an old tablet, whatever it may be, and you reset it and you only put TikTok on that. Now, is it safe now to use that on your home Wi-Fi network in order to get on TikTok? No, not so much. Because once it's on your Wi-Fi network, it can spy on anything that's connected to the network. So if you are you just want to use TikTok and you want to be safe about it, I want you to get an old device and then use it with a cellular plan. All right, number 4 on our list is 1 out of 50 kids are having their identity stolen. That's right. A recent study found that 1 out of 50 kids have had their identity stolen, as I mentioned, and 3/4 of those kids were robbed by people who they know. So it's really simple to steal a child's identity. Just you need their name, their social security number, and their date of birth. And so want to make sure that you are checking your kids, maybe credit report, annualcreditreport.com. You can do that. If you get a document that asks for any of your kids' personal information unsolicited, make sure that you're doing that. If maybe you take the kid to the pediatrician, this happened to me, and they say, what's the kid's social security number? I'm like, why do you need that? And so I refuse to give it to them. If you get any junk mail that's addressed to your child, that's a sign that something may be going on. So just be aware. And finally, this coming in at number 5. 7% fewer strikes. What's going on? All right. As it turns out, bowling lanes have been switching over to string pins. And a lot of people are upset about this because thanks to new tech, these are pins with nylon strings attached to them. Once you knock them down, the strings pull them up right after a shot. Now, the bowling alleys say that this is cheaper for them to maintain, but the International Bowling Federation says the string pins are just fine in tournaments, but the bowlers don't like this. And the U.S. Bowling Congress, they agree with the bowlers because now you can't have pins that you hit and then it just knocks down a whole bunch of them, and it's going to be harder to get those strikes, spares, and splits. And the worst part of the string pins is that you don't have that sound anymore. You know, speaking of that, I got an email from a guy the other day. He said that, Kim, you were just making too many bowling jokes there on the show. Well, I guess the jokes weren't up his alley. Sometimes people can be such a pinhead. All right, coming up, we have all of your great phone calls. We're going to talk about how you can sniff out the scammers and also how you can get a hold of someone who has Do Not Disturb on. Had to do that with my son this morning. And of course, we have all of your great phone calls here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254. And just a quick reminder, if you ever want to send me your question because you're just too dang shy to come on a big-time radio show and podcast, hey, I get it. Head over to komando.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right, so there are all kinds of TikTok videos out there, and there was one that was posted by a 17-year-old gal, and she was just shocked, I'll tell you, about she lost a job over things that she wrote on social media. She actually said, me realizing digital footprint is real because when they called me for a job interview, they loved me. But when they did a background check, they said they didn't want to hire me anymore, which I'm sure happens more than once every single day throughout the world. What was interesting about this whole story is that Chris Sutherland Jr., you responded to her TikTok. Why did you respond to her? Now, you're also a cybersecurity pro, I take it.
Yeah, I work in the cybersecurity field, and I honestly just love to spread the news about cybersecurity. So once I saw her TikTok and it was kind of blowing up, I realized how many people honestly don't realize what they post online directly affects what their job outlook could be. So employers are looking for or looking at what you post online, not very often, depending on what kind of job you're going to get, but very frequently the people can go online and search your username with these free tools, or maybe even your email, and easily pull up almost everything you've done in the past couple of years. And it's really simple to do. So it was just surprising to see how many people didn't realize that and how open people are about posting very private information on the internet.
Well, and I think people assume, rightfully so, that they would look at their social media accounts, their LinkedIn accounts. Maybe if they could find the Finsta accounts along with the Rinsta accounts, things like that. So you used 2 Linux-based tools in particular. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the first tool I used is on GitHub, and it's called Mosent. And both of these tools are actually free and open source, so anyone can use them for free. It doesn't cost a dime. But basically, the first tool, Mosent, all they have to do is grab your email address off your resume and plug it into this tool, and it'll scrape the internet for your social media accounts and that kind of thing that you use to register with, or that you use this email to register with on. And it'll bring it all up so they can take a look at it and see what you've done. And then once they find, like, let's say they look up your email and they find some accounts and they find some usernames after they look up your email, then they can go to this tool called Nextfill, type in all the usernames that you found or that they found while looking up your email, and then find all your other accounts that were linked to other email addresses and go even deeper with that. So those are the 2 tools I showed. And the scary thing is those are just 2 of probably hundreds, if not thousands of tools. And most of them are free and open source. And a lot of them, aren't free and can do even, scarier things that I haven't even mentioned.
And so what advice do you have for somebody who's looking for a job right now?
Honestly, the best advice I have is just simply don't post anything online that you wouldn't want an employer to find. And if you just absolutely have to for some reason, first of all, I would not post any pictures of yourself. Second of all, I would use a different profile picture for every single account, and preferably very common images. Third, I would probably use a different username, email, never put your real name, of course, on there, and all that good stuff. And then I would private all the accounts and then only tell my good friends about them. And basically that's what I do.
We're just going underground, baby. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much, because there's not a lot you can do to hide yourself. If you have any piece of identifiable information and an employer really does want to find you, they can definitely do it. And especially if you're going for like a government contracting job, you better believe that they are using these kind of tools and ones we've never even heard of to find you on the internet.
Yeah, 100%. There's all right. Final question. I was looking at your TikTok channel. Tell us about the OMG phone cable.
Yeah, the OMG phone cable is it's been around for a couple years, but the crazy thing that I find is this technology before this cable came out used to be about, $20,000 per cable. But now it's, about $150 to $100 for this cable. You can plug it into an Android, iPhone, or really any other mobile device, as long as it can fit the cord. And then they have different cords for different devices. And then once, you plug a phone into the device, you can actually remotely access the information on the device. So a hacker from, a different building across the street could leave a cord dangling out of a Starbucks outlet, and someone's like, oh, cool, free phone charger. They plug their phone up into it, and the guy across the street's actually able to access their passwords and their data and all of that just from the phone cable.
Well, it's astonishing, and I'm glad that you're out there helping me and everybody else in this industry trying to keep everybody digitally aware and digital safe. And Chris, keep up the great work, and thanks for being here. Hey, by the way, you can follow Chris at TikTok.com at Chris Jr. 404. That's Chris Jr. 404. That's cute. 404. Page not found. All right. Let's say you want to find the love of your life this year, and you're like, so you're going to start getting into the dating sites, and then suddenly somebody contacts you and says, oh, you're exactly what I'm looking for. You're it. Okay, before you just say, yes, this is my love, and I'm going to send you some money, what I want you to do is make sure that you always remember that they may not be who they are. And so always do a reverse Google image search. Go to image.google.com. Once again, that's image.google.com. All right, coming up in just a few moments, our amazing content queen, Ali Seligman, is going to be here to talk to us about what we should not be paying for in 2023. And then later on, how you can get a handwritten note into your PC here on The Kim Komando Show. All right, in just a few moments, we have a great tip about what to do when you need to get a hold of somebody, but they have do not disturb on. And then later on, still to come, you have these handwritten notes, but how do you get these inside your PC? But right now, our amazing content queen over at Komando.com, Ali Seligman, is joining us. Hello there, Ali.
Hi, Kim.
So money is tight, right?
Indeed.
Everybody's talking about it. Have you seen the price of eggs?
I have.
Have you bought?
Isn't it insane? Yeah.
I mean, I went and I bought a dozen eggs, and it was $8.49 for a dozen eggs.
You know what I found that's funny? Going to like a health food store. So here in Phoenix, if you do your regular grocery shopping at Fry's, eggs are actually cheaper at places like Sprouts. Like the places you think of as the more expensive grocery stores have cheaper eggs. Yeah.
But when it comes to tech, give us a few things that we should stop paying for.
That's the best way to save money, right? Stop buying so much stuff. And the first one on my list, subscriptions. You have heard my many rants about streaming. Stop paying for streaming services that you're not watching right now. But I've got a new twist on that. If you are a person that buys a lot of games, you pay for games, you pay for the in-app purchases, quit it. You probably want to spend less time on your phone, and you don't realize how much money that stuff adds up to. I am not alone in this. So many people are spending way more time playing things like board games and cards and, things in real life with people right now. Cribbage is my new obsession. So get off your phone, stop the phone games. They're expensive.
Well, board games, you and I were talking about this, that they have increased in popularity 238% year over year. So I think there is a trend where people are saying, like you playing cribbage, which I want to take a cribbage lesson from you because I don't even know how to play it.
I'll teach you.
But, because I play dominoes.
Okay, you teach me that.
Okay, we'll go back and forth. I have friends here that are teaching me every Thursday night how to play dominoes. I'm like, I never knew it was that hard to play dominoes.
I know.
All right, what do you have next?
Paper towels. This is not about the environment, which, whatever, we could get into that. But they're expensive and you don't need to keep paying for them. There are so many reusable options. There's bamboo towels, there's special Swedish dish towels, all kinds of things. We have some links to our favorites up on Komando.com so you can see the better options, right? So you're not just throwing these away every single time you use them. My caveat though, if you cook with a lot of meat, you might still want a few paper towels around so you can not use your reusable towels on meat juice.
Yeah, that's
gross.
Kind of like, that's yucky.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
Shipping. Shipping is expensive. So there are a couple different things you can do here. Of course, if you're using Amazon and you have a Prime membership, great, you get free shipping. There are sites like shipping.org, there's ShopRunner. These can tell you, great, here are places where you can get free shipping. A nice option too is to use Google Shopping and see, okay, I can pay a little bit more for the shipping here, or I get free shipping, the product's the same price. It's a really good place to comparison shop. Sometimes it actually is worth paying for the shipping because you get the product cheaper. So see how it evens out for you. And remember, a lot of retailers, you can shop online, pick it up in store, and you don't have to pay for shipping that way.
And what's nice about that is that they have those parking spots right in the front.
Yeah, the front spot. Yep.
Yes. We call those, well, I shouldn't say we call those the fat spots. Like Sorry about that.
This is a change I made. Okay, I love those cans of compressed air. I think it's so satisfying to clean a keyboard or, whatever dusty thing with them. But they run out so fast. Of course, they always run out when you're like halfway through your keyboard. So I bought one of those really high-powered air blowers. They're kind of the, reusable option of compressed air. I love this thing. It is wonderful. I've written about it on Komando.com. It's about $50, which you might think, oh, that's expensive. But a single can of compressed air, depending on how much, you pay for it, they're like $6, $8. So it really does pay for itself. When I tell you these things are strong, I am not kidding. I got a corded version because those are the strongest. One time I found my husband out on the porch, blowing the porch off with it. I kid you not, they are that strong.
Okay, now, Allie, let me go back in time 10 years ago. Okay. Would you ever imagine that what you just said would ever come out of your mouth?
Of course not. Of course not.
But here's the crazy part. It's like, now I'm excited. I'm going to go on Komando.com and I'm going to buy it just because this way I can blow the dust off of everything.
It's awesome. It really is awesome. And seriously, if you have anything that's really delicate, do it kind of far away because this thing is super powerful.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Of course.
So, in our house, we have our front door, and then you see through the house, and then there's those sliding glass doors that go to the patio, the backyard. So you see right through the house.
Yeah.
And so there were there was like dog hair and balls, stuff all on the thing. And so I was in my office, so all of a sudden I hear like the leaf blower inside the house.
Oh.
Okay. So instead of vacuuming, Barry had the leaf blower and the doors open and was going the leaf blower.
How'd it work? That's kind of smart.
You know what? It worked really well. And I looked at it, I said, maybe this is actually a really good invention that you just did.
Go Barry.
All right. I digress. All right. What else do you have?
The final waste of money, at least in my opinion, and not just mine, Consumer Reports agrees with me, extended warranties. These are often not worth it for your tech products. Here's why. So you're buying something expensive and you think, oh, it's only $20, $30, $100 to add the extended warranty, all these years of coverage. Well, they don't cover everything. They cover normal wear and tear, if there are defects, mechanical issues. If you break it yourself, you're out of luck, which is a bummer. That's kind of the reason I would want it. And so the main thing they cover, if there's a defect, right? Most of the time, those defects pop up within the first year that you own the product. So if you're paying for 5 years of coverage, you don't need it because that issue already would have come up. The regular manufacturer warranty would have covered it. So I say don't waste your money on those. If you really, really want to, on Amazon, these are actually treated like separate products. You can read the reviews. So at least go through and see how people say the review or the warranty actually worked for them. Did it fix their product? Do you see yourself having the same kind of issue in the future? Otherwise, don't waste your money.
Have you noticed every single thing that you buy on Amazon now pops up with a warranty?
Everything. Yes.
It's like I bought a stand for my phone, a smartphone stand. Would you like a warranty? I'm like, and it was like $5 for 2 years. I'm like, no, I don't want a warranty.
Well, when you buy that air blower, do not buy the warranty.
Yes. The air blower, what's it called?
I think it's got one of those really long SEO names. I think it's like, if you search air compressor on our site, you'll find it.
Okay. All right. Because I'm super excited about buying that. All right. I bought my 3-year-old nephew, Owen, a toy iPhone. I mean, it just looks like a real iPhone. But I think what's so funny is that my niece called and said that people are calling asking about his extended warranty on his Little Tikes car. Like, what's going on with this? All right, totally made that up. I'm sorry.
That was good.
I'm sorry. We
good.
digress. All right, Allie, thank you for coming on as always. And what's some really great stuff that's going on at Komando.com right now as far as content that people might want to search for?
Yeah, it is the time of year that we are reminding you, ramp up your privacy. So we've got a ton of great privacy tips coming out this year. We have a fun little tip on all the different ways you can turn on your iPhone flashlight. So if you're that person who's always like in the dark, like, how do I do this? You can even do it with your voice, which is really nice. But really, hit the site for those privacy tips. It's really important, good stuff. Doesn't take too long either.
And you're going to love it. And by the way, you might be seeing some new features, especially if you read any of my work on the website, is that now I will read that story to you. You can just say, hey, have Kim read the story to you. So just click play, and then I will read the story to you, which a lot of people out there are like, why would I want you to read the story to me? Why would, aside from that, you get my wonderful soothing voice? What are some other reasons, Allie?
Well, lots of reasons. If you're trying to multitask, right? If you're working on something that you don't need a lot of brain power for, so you can take in a story, have that playing in one tab while you're doing it. You could do it on your phone while you're doing some chores and listen to it like a podcast. While you're out on your walk, take Kim on a walk, because obviously you've already listened to all the latest episodes of Kim Komando today. So treat it like a little podcast.
Exactly. So when you're hitting the website and you see, have Kim read the story to you, just go ahead and hit play, because I think you're really going to like it. Allie, great job as always. And we'll see you, I guess, in our next Google Meet. We had like 8 of those calls the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, make it stop.
I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Allie. All right. Have you ever tried to get a hold of someone whose iPhone is on Do Not Disturb? It's so annoying, especially when it's really super duper important. Like, for example, every once in a while, my son Ian will text me the night before. Normally, he's still studying at 1 a.m. and say, hey, Mom, can you wake me up? Because I don't want to miss my class at 9 a.m. or whatever it is. And quite often, he will sleep right through his alarm. He will sleep right through his phone. And so, for example, this morning, I was trying to get a hold of him to wake him up to make sure that he was, in time for class, because he stayed up studying. Well, he's studying for the LSAT overnight, it seems like most nights. But anyway, here nor there is that I have a little trick, is that when he doesn't answer the phone, and even though I am on the permitted list on Do Not Disturb, is that I have another secret weapon. What I do is I go to Find My Devices, because we're under the family sharing plan. And then under Find My Devices, I see his iPhone, and then I can play the sound as if he has lost his iPhone, and it goes womp, 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 womp. So this way he actually gets woken up by that. So in case you want to know the steps on how you can permission somebody to get through on Do Not Disturb, or you want to know how to use Find My Devices to actually get a hold of someone, we have it all written up over on the website, step by steps. Head over to komando.com and hit the link that says Kim Show. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls, as well as later on a great tip on how to get your handwritten notes right into your PC here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey, if you haven't already entered to win our $500 giveaway, go ahead, do it right now while you're thinking about it. Just a couple of weeks before someone's going to be handed a $500 Amazon.com gift card. Imagine what you could do with $500. Head over to komando.com/win. That's komando.com/win. And when you're there, be sure that you do some extra steps to get some extra entries, like subscribe to our podcast, get our newsletters, like us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Again, that address is komando.com/win. All right, up next, Steve in Prescott, Arizona.
Well, not a whole lot. I'm calling for my mom. So the question is, Mom is a little elderly, and she's having some vision problems.
Okay.
So right now she's using an Android phone with, she's using an Android phone. The problem is that because she has some vision problems, sometimes she'll hit the wrong button in an attempt to move on into whatever website she's on, and she gets lost down a rabbit hole and wants to throw the phone in the trash,
Well, because then she's getting she's getting frustrated, right? I mean, she's like, "What the heck? This should be easier."
Yeah, exactly.
Number one, do you think she really needs a phone?
Yeah, I think she does. She lives in a facility, and it's kind of her contact with her brothers and sisters and others in the outside world who are a little restricted to getting to her.
Okay, because one of the things that was just crossing my mind is that maybe just to make life simple for her is that we get her an Amazon Echo Show where she can just say, hey, call my wonderful son Steve, and then suddenly you'll have a video call with her without her having to hit anything. But let's talk about some features for phones that, for people who are a little bit older, okay? Number one, like you mentioned, we want large buttons, right? And they should have some high contrast colors, and we want something simple for that person to use. We want large text, nice icons. We don't want any little small text icons or anything like that. Another feature when we start looking at these phones is amplified sound, so that this way, if she has any hearing issues, she can better hear calls and messages and things like that. We want a larger screen other than that little Android one that she's using, because this way she'll be able to see the videos or images or text or whatever she has on the screen. The other thing that I like for these type of phones is if there's an emergency button. So in case she really needs you, is that she can just hit one button and it can dial you or a preset list of contacts in case of an emergency, right?
Right.
So when we take all those features together, is that there's only probably 3 different phones that have all of those features. And one, of course, you see them advertised a lot. It's the Jitterbug. And it has big buttons, a bright display. It has a camera. It also works with hearing aids, too. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is that we have something called the Doro 7050. It has everything that I mentioned, and it also works with hearing aids. It's just not as popular as the Jitterbug. And then there's something called the Clarity. And we'll send you links to all of these as well. But take a look at, all these phones, and you know your mom best. You do.
Correct.
And so when you look at these phones, you get to pick which one that you think is going to work for her. And in case any of you are listening, you're like, hey, what were those list of those phones? We're going to post them over at komando.com. So that's komando.com. Just search for phones for the elderly. And again, it's the Jitterbug Flip, the Doro 750, or the Clarity XLC 3.4 plus or some number like that, which somebody in marketing should be just, I don't know, hand slapped with a ruler for coming up with a model number like that. And again, in case you missed all those, just hit the website at komando.com. By the way, we're going to list all those phones that I just mentioned on our website. That's komando.com, of course. And if you do have somebody older in your family, it's definitely worth checking out how you could use an Amazon Echo Show. We've got tons of information about how you can set it up. They can just use drop-in. They can listen to music and news, as well as, as a caregiver, there's a special program for you to use that Echo Show as well. And again, we got all the information that you might need over on the website. That's Komando with a K, of course, komando.com. Hey, did you ever wish that you could turn your handwritten notes into something you could search or edit on your computer, your phone, or your tablet? Well, you can. Or you can take a picture of your writings, but sometimes, depending upon what you're using, you may not get all the phrases in the text. So a great way to get a handwritten note inside your computer is to use the free Google Lens app. It'll turn your handwriting to text right before your eyes, and Google Lens is pretty amazing. Now, I know somebody out there saying, Kim, Komando, I don't want to use Google products. Well, there's Evernote, and also Microsoft has something called OneNote. And either one will let you take a picture of your writings, so this way you can edit it. But these 2 apps will help also organize things into notebooks and pages. Now, of course, your handwriting has to be legible. The apps aren't going to work very well or even at all with those handwritten notes that you're just scribbling. And you might have to dictate at that point your handwritten notes into a Word or Google Doc so that this way you can edit them. The name of the apps, again, Google Lens, Evernote, and Microsoft OneApp. And be sure to tell 3 friends about the show, because knowledge is power. Find me 24/7 at komando.com.